Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for Shanti in Place, our weekly virtual meditation gathering. We'll allow some folks to make their way into our gathering. If you haven't already done so, just a reminder here to make sure that your audio is muted. You may keep your camera on or off as you feel comfortable. Also taking a moment here to find that comfortable seat, that comfortable posture, whatever that may mean for us. If we're sitting in a chair, perhaps adjusting the chair or adjusting our feet to more solidly connect with the ground below us. If we're seated on the floor, a moment here perhaps to realign the back or the spine, to more intentionally ground into our sit bones, feeling the ground below us, or perhaps our pillow or cushion if we're using one. For some of us where we are, it's maybe a little colder today than it has been. So doing what we need to be comfortable and warm, perhaps wrapping ourselves in a blanket or a shawl. Meditation practice is not necessarily a time for increased austerity, although it can be an opportunity to embrace some self-discipline. But we want to make sure that we're comfortable so that we can be fully present and focused without having to worry too much about bodily discomfort. So taking this time to adjust anything that needs adjusting on the physical level. And if we haven't already done so, an invitation here to close the eyes or to soften the gaze, whatever feels more accessible to us. We'll begin our practice as we generally do with the ringing of the bell, and then taking 3 deep breaths together. We'll breathe in deeply and with intention through the nostrils, or perhaps if it's more comfortable to us, softly between the lips. We'll hold the breath, and then we'll breathe out again through the nostrils or very softly between the lips. And when we breathe out, we will elongate the breath slightly. So if you find it helpful, you can use the 4-4-6 model of breathing. That's breathing in for about 4 beats, holding the breath for about 4 beats, and then exhaling for about 6 or 7 beats. So 4-4-6. And we'll do that 3 times together. You're welcome to follow along or to adjust to a pace that feels more comfortable and accessible to you. We'll begin with the ringing of the bell. Breathing in. Holding. And out. Again, in. Hold. and out. Last time in, holding, release. Continuing to breathe deeply and with intention. Allowing the breath to find its natural pace and rhythm, its own flow. Sometimes this takes a few seconds or even a minute or two. It's okay. We can give ourselves the gift of time. We're not in a rush. However long it takes us for the breath to settle into itself. As the breath settles into itself, we can simply observe it. Simply notice it. Continuing to notice the breath. Noticing this physical sensation of breathing. Something so intimately connected to us. Something so viscerally connected to being alive. Along with perhaps our heartbeat or our pulse, this flow of breath in and out is perhaps the most concrete, most tangible sensation of being alive, of physically existing right now in this moment. Every breath we take in, every breath we release is a testament to our existence in this moment. And how wonderful that it happens really of its own accord. It doesn't require us to do really anything. It's not something that we can strive for or achieve or accomplish. It's not something that we praise ourselves for. It's not something that we blame ourselves for. It's really not even something to judge or evaluate. It just is. And yet it's so amazing. It's so powerful. It's such a gift. What happens when we simply notice this gift? When we intentionally turn our attention, our awareness to this gift. Noticing this breath, just the simple act of noticing this breath reminds us that we are observers, that as close to us and to our existence as the breath is, we are not exactly the breath itself. We are the observers of the breath. there are aspects of the breath that we can control. We can take a moment, if we'd like, right here in this meditation, and we can play with the breath. We can play with the aspects of the breath that we can control, if we'd like. We can play with taking deep breaths, even exaggerated deep breaths. Sighing out. And if we've made sure to mute out our microphones, we can even make some funny sounds when we breathe out, sighing out the breath in an exaggerated way. Breathing in a dramatic way, maybe, and breathing out, sighing out, making some funny sounds as we do that. We can breathe slowly and with precision. We can breathe quickly. Taking shallow breaths, taking deep breaths. We can remind ourselves to breathe when we find ourselves perhaps holding the breath or taking short, shallow breaths. We can remind ourselves to breathe or to breathe more deeply. So there are aspects to the breath that we can control. And there are aspects to the breath that we do not control. But we simply observe. Noticing means being aware of the aspects that we can control, and perhaps engaging those aspects with intention, and also being aware of the aspects beyond our control. And accepting these also with intention. We can stay right here, practicing being an observer of the breath. Or if we'd like to, we can widen our field of observation. We can notice the physical sensation of the body, the external organs, the internal organs. Here also, there are aspects within our control. Perhaps there's a part of the physical body that feels tight and closed right now. Perhaps it's within my control to make some physical adjustment, to bring some softness, some openness to that particular part of the body. And there are aspects of the physical body, both the outer physical body and the inner physical body, that are simply beyond my control. That are functioning and experiencing sensations that are largely out of my control, beyond my reach. And I can observe and notice these as well. Perhaps with some curiosity, and perhaps in a spirit of acceptance. If we'd like, we can widen our scope, our field of observation even more. Noticing our thoughts, the texture of our thoughts, specific thoughts or inner monologues, and perhaps even the general mood and feeling, the frame of mind or space of mind that we might be experiencing in this moment. Perhaps my mind, my thoughts are starting to wander a little bit, starting to float around. Perhaps they're being pulled in one direction or another. There are aspects of my mind and my thoughts that feel very much outside of my control, that are spontaneous and unexpected. And I can observe these. I can notice these. Perhaps also there are aspects of my thoughts that I can guide, that I can gently but firmly control, lead, direct. With intention, I can bring my wandering mind back to this moment. Just by observing it, just by embracing my role as the observer. In these final few moments of our meditation sit, practicing being the observer. I am not my breath, I am the observer of this gift that is my breath. I am not my body, I am the observer of this gift of my body. I'm not even my mind or my thoughts. I am the observer of this gift of the mind, my mind. If we'd like to, we can take these final moments of our sit to craft an intention for ourselves, a simple and silent intention to be the observer, to observe with curiosity, perhaps even with wonder and gratitude. We'll seal this intention with the ringing of the bell, and then we'll close out our practice with one final deep breath in, and then exhaling while chanting or simply being present to the sacred syllable Om, the sound of the universal and the infinite. Breathing in. Om. Gently, with intention and kindness, we can open the eyes or widen the gaze, bringing our observation and our awareness back to our external surroundings and back to our virtual gathering. Thank you for the gift of your presence, your participation, your openness to being the observer. This powerful practice. I hope this contributes to your spiritual meditation practices, whatever they may be. Or if this is newer to you, I hope this is something that you feel comfortable perhaps giving it a try, even for just this week, to practice in formal and informal meditation settings, being the observer. Thank you so much. I look forward to gathering with you again next week. Have a wonderful rest of your day and rest of your week. Namaste.